I have this wonderful NCERT biology first year, which means first year intermediate. It's also called 11th class. NCERT book, I regard it as one of the greatest textbooks because it has been written by scientists with a lot of care, a lot of beauty. You'll see this. So, Unit 1, Diversity in the Living World. We'll go right away. We'll take only 5 minutes so that we can really understand the subject, especially science. We should do that. Unit 1, diversity in the living world. So, what will he talk about in this chapter? The whole diverse life. Biology is the science of life forms. Biology is the science of life forms and living processes. Biology is the science of life forms, all the species, and living processes. What's happening? Processes. The living world comprises an amazing diversity of living organisms. Early man could easily perceive the difference between inanimate matter and living organisms. He could easily perceive what is a stone and what is a cat. early man Early man could easily perceive the difference between inanimate matter and living organisms. Early man defied some of inanimate matter, wind, sea, fire, etc., and some among the animals and plants. Defied means made it like divine and all. And some among the animals and plants. A common feature of all such forms of inanimate and animate objects was a sense of awe, you know, or fear that they evoked. Evoked. Evoked means came, that emotion came. So when they see these, imagine an early man who had no knowledge. We have a lot of implicit knowledge in the modern world. We don't realize. We are not like the early man. Okay. Early man defied some of the inanimate matter, wind, sea, fire, etc., and some among the animals and plants. A common feature of all such forms of inanimate and animate objects was the sense of awe. Awe is a feeling of wow, it can be terror, it can be admiration and fear that they evoked. Evoked. The description of living organisms, including human beings, began much later in human history. So they were first awed. Can you imagine that time? Societies which indulged, indulged, indulge means like they put in time, they enjoyed, indulged in anthropocentric. Anthropocentric means man is the center. You see everything from the point of view of human being only, man only. Man means woman also. The description of living organisms, including human beings, began much later in human history. Societies which indulged in anthropocentric view of biology could register limited progress in biological knowledge, systematic and monumental description. Systematic and monumental. Monumental means huge. Monumental description of life forms brought in out of necessity detailed systems of identification. Detailed systems of identification. Got it? Nomenclature and classification. Detailed systems of identification, nomenclature, and classification. The biggest spin off, the biggest spin off The biggest spin off of such studies was the recognition of the sharing of similarities among living organisms. Spin off means the result, the similarities among living organisms. Was the recognition of the sharing of similarities among living organisms, both horizontally and vertically. That all present day living organisms are related to each other and also to all organisms that ever lived on this earth. You know, was a revelation which humbled man. That whole, which humbled man means this man didn't become small. The whole awe, the feeling of humbled man, which humbled man and led to cultural movements for conservation of biodiversity. In the following chapters of this unit, you will get a description. You will get a description including classification. Description including classification of animals and plants from a taxonomist's perspective. From a taxonomist's perspective. Okay, that is Unit 1. Introduction to Unit 1, Diversity in the living world. In this Unit 1, this is just an introduction. We have Chapter 1 is the living world, Chapter 2 is biological classification, Chapter 3 is plant kingdom, and Chapter 4 is animal kingdom. Living world, biological classification, plant kingdom, animal kingdom. This is an amazing book. Amazing book. We'll do this book slowly. 5 minutes are over. Actually, 6 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes we'll have for each video. I'm sure you will love this book. I'm sure you'll love this video. You'll hear it again and again and again. And get this whole book inside you. And then you'll start seeing the world. That feeling is different. Thank you.